Jaya Vrinde, Jaya Vrinde, Jaya Vrinde. Haribo.
Tulsi Maharani.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Om Namo Namo Prishpad Paramahansa Parvakacharya Hasatara Satta His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Sundara Dakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Maya Ki Yamuna Maya Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Brihad Mridanga Ki Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Hare Nam Sankirtan Ki Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today the text we're going to be reading is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 48, text number 30. 10, 48, 30. Bhavad-vidha mahabhaga nishivya arhasattama Shreyaskamar nirbhir nityam Devasvarthana sadhava Bhavad-vidha mahadbhaga Nishevya arhasatamaha Shreyaskamar nirbhir nityam Devasvarthana sadhava Bhavad-vidha mahabhaga Nishevya arhasatamaha Shreyaskamar nirbhir nityam Devasvarthana sadhava. Devotees, Bhavad-vidha mahabhaga Nishevya arhasatamaha Shreyaskamar nirbhir nityam Devasvarthana sadhava Bhavad-vidha mahabhaga Nishevya arhasatamaha Shreyaskamar nirbhir nityam Devasvarthana sadhava. Bhavad-vidha mahabhaga Nishevya arhasatamaha Shreyaskamar nirbhir nityam Devasvarthana sadhava. Anybody else? Bhavad-vidha, like your good self. Mahabhaga, most eminent. Nishevya, worthy of being served. Arha, of those who are worshipable. Sattamaha, the most saintly. Shreyaha, the highest good. Kamahi, who desire. Nirbhihi, by men. Nityam, always. Devaha, the demigods. Swa-artaha, concerned with their personal interest. Naha, not so. Sadhavaha, saintly devotees. Translation and purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Exalted souls like you are the true objects of service and the most worshipable authorities for those who desire the highest good in life. Demigods are generally concerned with their own interests, but saintly devotees never are. Please repeat. Exalted souls like you are the true objects of service and the most worshipable authorities for those who desire the highest good in life. Demigods are generally concerned with their own interests, but saintly devotees never are. Purport, very short. Whereas demigods may award material benefit, saintly devotees of the Lord have the power to award the real perfection of life, Krishna consciousness. Thus, Lord Krishna reinforces the respectful mood he has adopted here toward his uncle Akrura. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutedevi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpataruvyascha Kripa Sindhuyavacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavaya Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Ki Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we can have the verse on the screen again. Exalted souls like you are the true objects of service and the most worshipable authorities for those who desire the highest good in life. Demigods are generally concerned with their own interests, but saintly devotees never are. So who are these exalted souls like you, and who is speaking? Who is the person who is reciting this verse? Huh? Okay. Who is the person who is, thank you, who is the person who is reciting this verse? Akrura. No, this is Krishna, right? Or Akrura? Which one? Krishna or Akrura? It is Krishna who is speaking. And he is talking about other saintly devotees like Akrura. In other words, in the previous verse we saw that the Supreme Lord said, "You are our spiritual master." He's talking to Akrura. "Paternal uncle and praiseworthy friend. And we are like your sons, always dependent on your protection, sustenance, and compassion." And before that, it was Akrura. He was reciting all praises to the Supreme Lord. And now the Supreme Lord is saying, well, actually, you are praiseworthy. You are our spiritual master, your paternal uncle. we're like your sons. We, of course, is Krishna Balaram, right? Always depend on your protection. And in this verse today, continuing, exalted souls like you. In other words, all of you exalted personalities, Krishna is speaking, are the true objects of service and the most worshipable authorities for those who desire the highest good in life. And then he talks about how the demigods, they may give some benefits, may or may not give some benefits. Ultimately, we know that it's Krishna, the one who is making that possible. But the demigods, they want their own self-interest. They want to get something out of giving these benefits. But the devotees, the pure devotees, the saintly devotees, are never self-interested. They're always selfless. And so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, O Akrura, you are our guru, father. From the point of view of normal behavior, you are worthy of respect by us. This is stated in verse 29. From the spiritual point of view, you must be worshipped, since you are the highest devotee. This is stated in this verse. Among those worthy of worship, you are most worshipable, Arha Satama. But worship of the devas is more famous, they retort. The devatas are self-interested, but the devotees are not, is the reply. They are intent on giving mercy to others. Now, is Krishna not accepting the praise and the beautiful prayers of Akrura? Well, he is accepting them. But now he is going back and saying, well, you are the object of worship. But why is he saying that? Because he wants us, those who are reading the Bhagavatam, those who are following the process of bhakti, or trying to follow the process of bhakti, to understand that he is actually sponsoring, or he is giving his seal of approve to Akrura and her personalities who are pure devotees. For our benefit, for us to understand that yes, we worship the Supreme Lord, but the worshipable objects of worship for us are the pure devotees also, and especially because it is through the pure devotees that eventually we get to associate with the Supreme Lord. So it's very important. It's not that Krishna is not accepting his worship and his words of prayer and these beautiful prayers of Akrura. He's, of course, accepting it. But he also wants to emphasize that we, as practitioners, as aspirants to get to the level of Krishna Prema, are to worship those who are worshipable, the pure devotees. It's a very important point. So Srila Jiva Goswami writes, because of your exalted qualities, we should serve you. If Krishna is saying that, what about us? Of course, we need to understand that. It's like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord teaching us he is adopting the mood, of course, of Srimati Radharani, but he is adopting the mood of a servant, of a person who is teaching us how to worship the Supreme Lord. Because of your exalted qualities, we should serve you. People similar to you are fortunate to have attained the status of the greatest devotees, the Mahabhaga. What to speak of you directly having good fortune? Persons like you are even greater than the devatas. You should always be served with the greatest devotion by men. You are most worthy of service. And the word that means worthy of service is arha samataha, most worthy of service. And some versions have the word arhatamaha. All men should serve devotees like you because all men should serve a devotee like you because such service is the best means of advancement. And since among men you are a yaru and my uncle, serving you is the highest means of advancement. Not only you are a very exalted devotee, you are a member of our family, you are my uncle. And of course, I feel like I need to serve you. That's what Krishna is saying. The plural is used, Shreyas Kamahi, to indicate the goals of liberation and bhakti. Other than the Lord and his devotees, others such as devatas do not have such power. Besides giving meager results, there is another fault in the devatas. they have their self-interest. By being indifferent to becoming a devata, persons like you are much greater than devatas. Akura is not aspiring to become a demigod. All he wants to do is serve Krishna and Balaram. Persons like you are much greater than the demigods. The qualities of the devotees are as follows. And now there is a mentioning of 4 verses from the 3rd canto, chapter 25, which is a very famous verse, Kapila Deva is talking to his mother Devahuti, verses 21, 22, 23, and 24. Not to mention 25 is not mentioned here, but it's about hearing and chanting and taking shelter of the devotees. Titikshava karonika surida sarva dehinam ajata shratava shantaha sadava sadhu bhushanaha. Such devotees are tolerant, merciful, friendly to all beings, without enemies, gentle, straightforward, and respectful to all devotees. That's verse 21. Mayanyan yena bhavena bhaktim kurvanti ye tridham madkrite tyakta karmanas tyakta swajana bandhavaha. They perform steady bhakti to me with exclusive devotion, giving up all action to attain me, giving up friends and relatives. 23. Mad ashraya katam rishtaha shivvanti katayanti cha tapanti vividha tapa naitam mad kata chittasaha. Taking shelter of me, they recite and listen to pure stories. They are not afflicted by material miseries, and thus fully absorb their minds in me. 24. Ta ete shadhava sadvi sarva sangha vivarjitaha sangaste shvata te pratyaha sangha dosha harahite. Those devotees are devoid of attachment to artha, dharma, karma, kama, and moksha. You should desire their association. They destroy the faults of material association. And remember that there are 5 elements of the 64 branches of practice of devotional service. There are 5 that are essential. The most important ones are to reside in a holy place, like we're residing in here, not because we're not in Bharatvarsha that we're not residing in a holy place. To study the sacred literature, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita. To recite the holy name, to chant the holy name, to take shelter of the pure devotees, and to worship the deities. And the most important one is, according to some, is the chanting of the holy name, because it presides over all the others, the other 4, and for some others, rightly so, to take the shelter of the pure devotees, to take the association and the guidance of the pure devotees. So this is extremely important, and Srila Prabhupada has explained this fully in his purports to these verses. So we're going to go to chapter 25, Canto 3, chapter 25, and we're going to go all through all these verses. But before I do that, I would like to say something that was kind of pending from my hearing Mother Lila Shakti speak yesterday about Jesus Christ. And this is the festivities of the presence of Krishna, Christ, the Lord of the Christians, and our esteemed Guru at the same time. And how important it is to understand the position of Christ in regards to the process of devotional service, how he was, and we will see this in one of the purports today, how he was giving himself to the point that he gave his life in order to save others, in order to preach the tenets of the Christian faith, which are universal tenets anyway. But there is an interesting story that I read recently about a lady who was very devoted to Jesus, and she had great devotion for him. And so a devotee came to her house, and she saw that she had a beautiful picture of Jesus with the children. And he said, "Oh, what a beautiful picture you have." this is, you must be a Christian. Yeah, I am a Christian, I'm a Catholic. And he said, and I was expecting you here because the devotee came with books. And so he told the devotee the story, how that it happened, that she was expecting him to come to her house. She said, a couple of years ago, I had a dream. I don't remember if it was a dream or a vision of Jesus who came to me. And he said, I really love your devotion, your sense of dedication, devotion to me. But what I would like for you is to become a vegetarian, because you cannot worship the Supreme Lord or his representative and at the same time indulge in eating his creatures, other creatures. So then she took that to heart, and for 2 years she became a vegetarian. And then when the devotee came, it had been 2 years after she had started this diet. So then she said to him, I had another dream before you came. I had a dream that you would be coming 3 days before. So when he came, she had had a dream 3 days before, announcing the arrival of this devotee, where Jesus said to me, in 3 days, somebody's going to come with books, and these books are going to change your life. And so here you are now, and these are the books. And so this is quite an amazing story, because Krishna consciousness is not just for devotees of this international society of Krishna consciousness. It is for everyone. It's like eating. It's not just for some people who live in Australia, or breathing is for somebody who is in France. It's like universal. So the principles of Krishna consciousness are universal. And I was mentioning to Leela Shak the story, not a story, but something that some of you may be familiar with, which is in the writings of Saint Teresa of Avila in Spain, a mystic, a very powerful mystic. She writes the following. She had a lot of visions, and she recorded all the visions. But this is probably the most important one, surely the most important one. Vision of Saint Teresa, Accounts of Conscience 38, Seville, August 9th, 1575. She writes, in the book of Accounts of Conscience, or the complete works of the saint, there is an incredible description of the greatest vision that she had. And now she says, suddenly a recollection came to me with such a great interior light that it seemed to be in another world. And my spirit found itself within itself in a very delightful forest and orchard, so much so that it made me remember what is said in the Song of Songs, Veniat dilectus meus in ortum suum. That's the tal in Latin. Come to me, come you, come, my beloved, to this garden. No, come he, my beloved, to his garden, and eat its delicious fruits. Then she goes and says, I saw there in this Elysium, which is a delicious place where great souls go, a blackish youth with a strange beauty. On top of his head, he had something like a garland, not a crown, of great stones, and many maidens who walked there with him with bouquets in their hands, all singing praises to God. I did nothing but open my eyes so as to not be distracted, and it was not possible for me to take my attention off it. There was a music of angels and singing of birds, which the soul enjoyed, although I did not hear it with my physical ears. But the soul was in that delight. I looked as there was no other man there. This lasted for more than an hour and a half. Should we be so fortunate to have a sport that lasted an hour and a half, seeing Krishna with the gopis? This lasted for more than an hour and a half, that I could not take my eyes off my attention, and with great delight, something different from other visions And what I got from there was more love for God and keeping Him more deeply present with that beauty. It is not possible that it was imagination. So we have this mystic Catholic nun who created the order of the Saint Therese, and the Carmelitas, we call them Carmelitas Descalzas, and without shoes, Carmelitas Descalzas. And she had this vision of Krishna with the gopis. So it's something quite noteworthy, and we have to realize that it's not only us, there are others who are really serious about devotional service. But the injunction here is that we cannot go around worshiping the Supreme Lord and eating His creatures. Cannot be done. Because we eat grains and we drink milk and dairy. We have all kinds of things, but they're offered to the Supreme Lord in sacrifice, making them sacred. And that also serves us for purification of our consciousness. So let's go to Canto 3, chapter 25. And let's read some of these purports because they are really quite extraordinary. I'll repeat the verses. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he's tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies. He's peaceful. He abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. Srila Prabhupada says that although he has no enemies, he has enemies because they don't want to hear what he has to say. In other words, he himself has no enemies. Everybody is his friend. Others may be envious of him and be inimical to him or her because of what he's given, because they're not ready to receive that, and it gets in the way of their enjoyment. Purport. A sadhu is described above. A sadhu, as described above, is a devotee of the Lord. His concern, therefore, is to enlighten people in devotional service to the Lord. That is his mercy. He knows that without devotional service to the Lord, human life is spoiled. A devotee travels all over the country, from door to door, preaching, be Krishna conscious, be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply fulfilling your animal propensities. Human life is meant for self-realization or Krishna consciousness. And of course we know what self-realization means, or Krishna consciousness. I was going to explain to those present, and I was hoping that others would be present here, that self-realization means to understand once and for all what some philosophers spend zillions of lifetimes trying to discover: who am I? And I am not the body. I'm the living force within the body. And this living force is divine, and this living force is eternal. And this living force, who we are, is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So that's called the process of self-realization. And somehow or other, we've come to understand in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling us right off, you're not the body. And so many people, like I said, spend many lifetimes trying to understand that I am not the body, that he, she is not the body. Human life is meant for self-realization or Krishna consciousness. Another thing I was going to explain, because I don't need to explain it here, but I will just for the sake of anybody's listening. Krishna consciousness means what? Because it's a very nice, beautiful phrase, but what does it encompass? What does it entail? What is Krishna consciousness? To see Krishna everywhere, to always give Krishna pleasure, endeavor to give Krishna pleasure, to have Krishna in our hearts, right? And then to understand that it is not our natural constitutional position to serve him, to give him pleasure, and that service is our expression of our love for him. So in other words, to love Krishna. And to love Krishna not by admiring just his beauty, but by doing something. Not just by sitting back and experiencing this bliss of the beauty and the sweetness of the Supreme Lord only, but to actually try to please him with our lives, with our actions, with our words, with our mind. So this is what Krishna consciousness means. Thank you for your input. These are the preachings of a sadhu. He is not satisfied with his own liberation. He always thinks about others. He is the most compassionate personality towards all the fallen souls. One of his qualifications, therefore, is karunika, great mercy to the fallen souls. While engaged in preaching work, he has to meet with so many opposing elements, and therefore the sadhu, the devotee of the Lord, has to be very tolerant. So eventually we'll come to a point where this ego that separates us, false ego separates us from the Lord, will dissolve. And how do we do that? By service, by chanting the holy name, by engaging in acts of devotion, by hearing his beautiful pastimes, and by becoming completely absorbed in 24/7 in that consciousness of his presence. And I like to use the example of air. We cannot live without air, and the soul cannot actually live and prosper and manifest without Krishna consciousness. So the more we can hear and chant, the more we can associate with devotees, the more we can render service to the devotees, to the Supreme Lord, to our Guru, the more we will be in connection. And when we are not very connected with him, there's a very simple process, and that is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is the breathing of the soul and the inhaling of pure spiritual oxygen. So then, it says here, sometimes devotees are personally attacked with violence. And so, very aptly, Srila Prabhupada is talking about Lord Jesus Christ and Haridas Thakur. Lord Jesus Christ was crucified. Haridas Thakur was caned in 22 marketplaces. And Lord Chaitanya's principal assistant, Nityananda, was violently attacked by Jagai and Madai. But still, they were tolerant because their mission was to deliver the fallen souls. So they were giving their lives to the process of enlightening others. And Srila Prabhupada gave his life to enlighten us, because for hours and hours in the middle of the night he was writing to be able to give us this beautiful literature that is giving us an understanding of the importance of this process of pure devotion. One of the qualifications of a sadhu is that he's very tolerant and he's very merciful to all fallen souls. He's merciful because he's the well-wisher of all living entities. He is not only a well-wisher of human society, but a well-wisher of animal society as well. It's an important point, because we need to understand, and we do, that's why we're here, that the living force is not just present in human bodies, but is present in anything that manifests symptoms of life. And so, as we have no right to take the life of anyone, or any other human, we have no right to take the life of any other living entity. And that's something that it is not understood, and it's not preached. And therefore, the level of advancement for some personalities in very, very devotedly dedicated to their practices in other processes cannot go further up. And it's interesting because when I was reading this thing about Saint Teresa of Avila some time ago, that I read to you about her vision, I decided to check, was she a vegetarian? Yes, indeed, she was a vegetarian. How is the Supreme Lord going to show her his highest form if she is indulging in eating other living entities, the other brothers and sisters? We have St. Francis of Assisi. He called has a brother, sun, sister, moon, and every living entity was a brother or a sister to him. How can we dare take the lives of a brother or a sister for our own sense pleasure, for the pleasure of our tongue? But that's why Srila Prabhupada, whenever he was talking, I don't know if you've noticed this, I'm sure you have, when he was talking to different bishops and cardinals and priests and ministers, he was always stressing the idea of thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not kill. And that doesn't mean that you shall not murder. It means that you shall not take life from any other living entity. And he stressed it over and over and over again, because otherwise, how can one progress in spiritual life? One of the he's not only a well-wisher of human society, but a well-wisher of animal society as well. It is said here, Sarva Dehinam, which indicates all living entities who have accepted material bodies. Not only does the human being have a material body, but other living entities, such as cats and dogs, also have material bodies. The devotee of the Lord is merciful to everyone, cats, dogs, trees, etc. He treats all living entities in such a way that they can ultimately get salvation from this material entanglement. Shivananda Sena, one of the disciples of Lord Chaitanya, gave liberation to a dog by treating the dog transcendentally. There are many instances where a dog got salvation by association with a sadhu, because a sadhu engages in the highest philanthropic activities for the benediction of living entities. So I'm going to stop here because I think it's time. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I didn't realize it was so late already. No, I didn't see that. I didn't see.
Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Marhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Dipan Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham
Gora Chandra Bole, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra Bole, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra Bole, Kota Nidra Jaya Maya, Picha Chira Kole, Kota Nidra Jaya Maya, Picha Chira Mole, Baji Bo Bolia Eshe, Samsara Bitore, Hani Bo Bolia Eshe, Samsara Bitore, Baji Bo Bolia Eshe, Samsara Bitore, Baji Bo Bolia Eshe, Samsara Bitore, Bulia Rohile to me, Avidyara Bare, Bulia Rohile to me, Avidyara Bare, Tomare Tomare loite ami, Hoinu avatara, Tomare loite ami, Hoinu avatara, Tomare loite ami, Hoinu avatara, Domare lite ami, Hoinu avatara, Nami bina bandu ara, Geache tamara, Bandu ara, Jaya Shaudi Maya Nashi Barlagi Jaya Shaudi Maya Nashi Barlagi Harinama Maha Mantra loud to me Magi 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 Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu Charane Pariya Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu Charane Pariya Say Hari Nama Mantra Loi Lo Magiya 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 Jeev Jago Jeev Jago Gora Chandra Bole Jeev Jago Jeev Jago Gora Chandra Bole Kota Nidra Jaya Maya Picha Chira Kole Kota Nidra Jaya Maya Picha Chira Kole Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Ba Nitai Gaur 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 Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Radha Kananda Radha Golokananda Radha Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radha Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai. Lord Gaurachandra is calling, wake up, sleeping soul, wake up, sleeping soul. How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? You have forgotten the way of devotional service and are lost in the cycle of birth and death. I have descended just to save you. I am your only true friend. Other than me, what friend do you have? I have brought the medicine that will wipe out the disease of illusion from which you suffer. Take this great chant from deliverance, Maha Mantra, the names of Hari. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, falling at the Lord's lotus feet, take shelter of the Harinam Mantra, the Lord's holy names. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Chaito Darpanam Marjanam, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam, Vijavadu Jivanam, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, Pratipanam Punamrita Swadanam, Sarvatma Snapanam, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis, Tatrapita Niyamita Smarane Nakala, Etadrashita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjanina Nuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Hazari. Thank you. Sundarim Kavitam Rajagadisha Kamae Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktira Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vishame Bhuvam Buddha Kripayatava Pada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrishim Vachintaya Nayanam Gadashu Daraya Varanam Gadgada Ridaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vakuna Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyava Padamritam Panastumam Adarshanam Marma Hatakarotuva Yatatatava Vadatulam Patomat Prananatastu Saiva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh, my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, a kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy name, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Samaraj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love? When I chant your holy name. When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Shastika Ki Jai. We want to thank Sundari Radha for such a beautiful dressing today. Really nice. So, yes, it's just the beautiful flowers, nice decorations, beautiful headpiece on Krishna, and Radharani looks very sweet. Haribo.